the request to the Brooklyn Posse.
Hello and welcome to the Fitz and Healthy podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauren Fitz, and I am joined by my beautiful co-host, Cinthanie McAllister. What's up, girl?
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, people. Hey.
For real, like literally the hey girl hey phenomenon is getting worse by the week. Like I can't tell you how many of my inboxes start off with hey girl hey.
Yeah.
It always makes me smile though.
Yeah, no, for sure. I had somebody message me saying that she listened to our podcast on her way to work. And then that whole day to everybody at work, she'd be like, hey girl, hey.
That's awesome.
So
hey, as long as she tells everyone about the Fitz and Healthy podcast, you know?
Right.
So, okay. So today, first of all, is a monumental day. And you don't know this.
I don't know this.
But today is December 22nd. And that is a really important date for me because exactly 2 years ago today, I had a major surgery that changed my life. December 22nd, 2015, I had my huge ACL reconstruction surgery and my meniscal repair to my right knee. They took my hamstring tendon and basically made it my new anterior cruciate ligament in my knee. This was a surgery in which totally changed my life because this was basically the thing that spawned a bunch of changes in my life that I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't be here speaking to you from California. I probably wouldn't even be doing a podcast, to be honest. And so I want to celebrate this because we're talking about personal development this morning. And we like to start off our Fitz Friday lives with some sort of topic, obviously opening it up to questions and comments and whatnot, because we love the more that you guys comment, the more interaction, the better it is. We love getting to know our audience and getting to hear what you have to say, getting to answer your questions. Obviously, I'm a doctor, but I don't know everything. So if I don't know the answer, Cinthanie doesn't know the answer, we'll figure it out. But today, our topic that we wanted to talk about was personal development. And I thought that this topic was so perfect because personal development has everything to do with where I am today after the huge life-changing moment of me injuring my knee and having surgery and whatnot. So okay, let me ask you first, how long have you been doing personal development?
Probably actually only like 2 years.
Okay.
So not,
there you
honestly,
go.
That's not long, to be honest.
No, well,
but
it's all perspective because you're what, 23?
Yeah.
So the fact that you've been doing personal development since you were 21, I mean, most 21-year-olds are just worried about how many nights that they can go get drunk and how no, I mean, seriously,
I laugh because it's true.
Yeah. It's hashtag for real, you know, I mean, it's FR. Every time I type that, I think of Melissa. So my injury happened on December 14th. And I remember literally the very next day on December 15th, sitting on my couch and feeling this sense of just sadness and being overwhelmed and like, woe is me, definitely victim mentality.
Yeah.
For a hot second, because for those that don't know, this December of 2015 was the very first month that I completely gave up anesthesia. And December in the OR is like one of the busiest months. It's one of our biggest money makers for OR staff. And for me to give up my job as an anesthesiologist was huge. It was a huge step. I had already established my Club Fitz Fitness online subscription business, but the coaching thing was completely new. And once I realized what health and fitness coaching was, I'm like, this is really my passion. And so I wanted to dive into it. At the time, I had an orthopedic surgeon husband that was kind of my backup plan. So that in the transition, I would go from being the main moneymaker in our family as the anesthesiologist to he takes over and becomes, because he had just gotten into private practice himself. So he was building his own business. So I had this security blanket. So I thought, and all of the sudden my life just changed. And for those of you that haven't listened to the podcast episode Seize the Day, I talk about my story and how I was basically living in a prison by being married to a really highly functional alcoholic. And that was at the pinnacle of his alcoholism. It was so bad that I actually didn't realize how bad it had gotten until after what went down on Christmas Eve that year. But the way in which I dealt with that particular struggle has everything to do with personal development, because for that hot second that I started to feel like, woe is me, I'm a victim, what am I going to do? And that limited mindset, the second after I started to have that thought, I started to change my mindset and change my thoughts and think about this as, okay, how can I turn this struggle into something that can help other people? And for those of you that didn't follow me back 2 years ago, that's when I came up with the hashtag ACL challenge. And were you following me then, Cinthanie?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So it was a pretty cool movement where I essentially, and I started that ACL push-up challenge the very next day after my injury. And so I just got on, I think it was Periscope at the time. I got on Periscope and
Good
I just
old
did.
Periscope.
Yep. Good old Periscope. Is it even still around?
I don't know. I don't know if it is or not.
No, yeah, I don't think it is. Poor Periscope. Facebook just is the bully and bullies everyone out of town, right?
Totally.
So I got on Periscope and I just did as many push-ups, and not on my knees, full push-ups, as I could. And I did 34. Thank you very much. And my goal was to just get a little bit better every day, because now I can't do anything with my lower body. So I can still utilize what I have, and a push-up was perfect. Right. So, my goal was to get to 100, but that was like, I stopped at, I think, 87, but every single day I did one more push-up than I did the day before. At certain point, I think at like 65 or 70, I started doing every other day because my muscles were like, no. Mm-hmm. But my point is that personal development was the reason, because I had been doing personal development at least a good year or two before, no more than that, before I had started in coaching. And a lot of people get into personal development when they start, into the coaching world, right? Yeah. And I'm guessing that that's why you got into personal development, right?
Well, it was why I was supposed to get into personal development, but I didn't get into it until my husband actually recommended it to me. Because I was just not in a good mental space. And like, it was before we were even married actually, but he could just tell that I was just off. Something was off. And so he recommended me a certain book and I fell in love with it. And so, because I think that when we talked about personal development, we talked about it maybe 2 lives ago when we were doing the episode about, what you see and what you tell yourself when you look in the mirror. We kind of touched on personal development, and he had mentioned it to me, like I said, just because I was in a mental space that I wasn't in a good place. And because I wasn't in a good place, when I became a coach, most of the time they recommend you to start reading personal development. And I was like, I don't need self-help. I'm fine. Like, I'm not woo-woo. I don't need self-help. And because I had that mindset, like, I needed it so bad.
True. So true.
Well, like nobody could get through to me about it except for him. He's the only person that can speak reason into me that nobody else can.
I love that.
So he recommended me a book. I was super angry one day and he was like, you just read this book. And I'm like, Tanner, I don't want to read a book. Like, I was just not in a good place. But he gave it to me and I was like, whatever. And then after, I think he was gone or something, and I kind of opened one page and I read the first page and was like, oh, okay. And read the second page, and then I finished it within like 2 days and was loved it.
So what book was it?
It was You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero.
That was your very first personal development? Yes. Oh my gosh. Talk about starting with the best.
I know. And I think that's why it's my absolute favorite. Why I recommend it to anybody with ears. Because it was totally like, I think that a lot of people, maybe like myself, had assumed that like it's only for entrepreneurs, or it's only for people that like need to build leadership skills or something. And like, no, personal development is for everybody. Yeah. So the fact that I read that one, and it's so human the way that she wrote it. And it has nothing to do with business or algorithms or, nothing like that. It's literally just the way you were designed and how to tap into your potential and just know that you are deserving of good things. books.
That book is for pretty much anyone that's human, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And there's not too many human personal development books that I will say that about, you know, because a lot of them are geared towards either an entrepreneur or whatever. But that book is, yes, absolutely. And, you know, personal development is something that, like you said, I love the fact that you touched on the whole self-help, because I will tell you, for real, like every time. So I would actually study at Barnes and Nobles during med school and residency. And, you know, on my breaks from, you know, getting up and walking around for 10 minutes or so, I would always like walk by the self-help and be like, whoa, you know, like who reads these? Like the stereotype in my mind. Right. And if you have that stereotype, you are probably the exact person that needs it, because honestly, you know, the what is the opposite of growth? It's death. Right. And so we're either growing or we're dying. And, you know, that's one thing that has changed so much in my mind as I have gotten, you know, into my 30s. And that's why I acknowledge you. The fact that you started freaking at 21, that's huge. I mean, can you imagine the amazing, awesome female that you're going to be when you're my age at 37? Like, it's going to be like too much awesomeness, right? Woo-hoo! I mean, so I just want to acknowledge the fact that anytime someone messages me with their personal struggle, honestly, my first thought is, okay, where are you at in personal development? And so many people don't even think about that might be the first place that they need to go. Yeah. So before we start looking at the comments and the questions, can you tell me your top 5, maybe not top 5, but 5 that come first thing to your mind? Cause I mean, I'm opening up my Audible right now, and I mean, it's like full of
4 credits, and I need to get some new books. But my top 5 personal development ones?
Yeah.
Well, of course, You're a Badass by James Carroll. The other one is, it has the F word in it. What is the title? We read it together. What is it called? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I do. It's
The Subtle Art of Not Giving.
Yes.
That's what it is.
It's not Unblank Yourself, which I'm reading right now, because one of my coaches gave me that for Christmas.
I need to read that one. Yes. I really like the title.
Yes, I know. Just the title alone, right?
Yes. Yeah. But The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F is a really, really good one. The Compound Effect, The Slight Edge.
Girl, stop taking all of mine.
My top 4. Well, you and I have like read a lot of them together though, so it doesn't surprise me that like you have the same ones.
For sure. A couple of ones that I want to suggest. This is an older one, and this is definitely for the people that are into like psychology and stuff. And it's an older book, The Road Less Traveled, by M. Scott Peck. He is an MD that I believe from Harvard. He's a psychiatrist, and he's got some great books. That's a great place to start. So I'm looking anything by Brene Brown and Ariana Huffington. Have you read Thrive yet?
Mm-mm. I'm taking notes right now on these.
Great book. Let's see. I mean, I'm just looking through. There are so many great books. Literally, so for people that don't know, I prefer to learn by audio. And then the moment that I have a book that I really love, I'll definitely listen to it twice. And as I'm listening to it a second time, I always buy the hard copy. Like this book, I did a talk on my Dr. Lauren Fitz page. That's not personal development, but I mean, it kind of is. It's learning more about, you know, stuff that I don't know as enough about. And so that particular book has been awesome. So there's a few others. So Failing Forward, anything by John C. Maxwell. Like he is amazing. Great, anything by him. The 12-week year, that's special to us in this podcast, right?
Yeah, it is.
That book is so great because, and that's a great book to mention right now because we're approaching the new year, and this will be released literally right before the new year. And so people are starting to make their New Year's resolutions, and the 12-week year talks about essentially changing your mindset and making it, instead of 12 months, look at your year as 12 weeks and you'll actually get stuff done. And it's true because you and I around, you know, what was it? January that we set our goal. Was it January or February?
I think it was February.
It was February because 12 weeks was May 1st. And we were like, okay, we are going to launch this podcast May 1st. And we worked our tails off in those 12 weeks, but we got it done. And we haven't looked back since.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's crazy because I was looking at other podcasts that have been around for a long time. And there are so few that have the amount of reviews that we have. So you guys that have taken the time to go to your iPod, your iTunes podcast app and leave a review, you guys have helped us so much. So if you haven't done that, please do that. We would really appreciate it.
Well, and that's one thing that I think we wouldn't have this podcast had I not done personal development prior to this. There's no way you could have talked me into talking about how I feel about things on out for the whole universe to hear. Like I would have never done that without personal development. But
and with someone that is older and in the place that I am in life, like that could be intimidating to a person that is not secure in their own self, and you don't become secure in your own self the way you are without working on it. Right.
Yeah. I think it took personal development because I was at first when we started this, I was worried because I was like, I don't want to be the dumb millennial because you're a doctor and we were going to talk about like health and fitness stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to be the dumb millennial, but it took personal development for me to realize that's not my message. Like that's your forte. That's not my message. Like that's not what I need to bring to the table. And like, it took me a minute to realize that and realize my role and like be confident in my role and not be like worried about what I was going to come across as.
Yes. So well put, because what you bring to the show is invaluable. And, I want to give you praise right now and show you gratitude I'm just grateful for all of the time and effort and heart that you have put into this, as well as Robert. Y'all can't see Robert, but he's the behind the scenes man that makes all the magic happen. Yeah. The Wizard of Oz voice for sure. For sure. But we all have this huge idea to change the world. And as cheesy as that sounds, I believe that our voices can change the world one person at a time. Mm-hmm. So that being said, what voices do we have to talk to this morning on our live broadcast?
So Stephanie has a question. She said, I know birth control has been discussed, but I was wondering if you have ever talked about a man getting snipped. Is it bad for men to do this?
That's a great question. So
that's a really good question.
Okay. So here's the deal. The more time that passes away, the farther I get from med school, the more I'm of the belief that don't fight Mother Nature. Okay. Mm-hmm. And Mother Nature didn't mean for men to have vasectomies, just like Mother Nature didn't mean for you to get your gallbladder out and all of these elective procedures. Right.
Yeah.
My old opinion was definitely of a mindset, the woman does all of the hard stuff. Why should birth control be on her shoulder? So the man should totally get snipped, because let's just talk about the actual procedure. If you get the actual procedure, it's such a minor procedure. It's not even funny. And I realize that men are nervous about them being around their most important organ. Mm-hmm. In their mind, at least. Your heart is way more important than your penis, guys. I'm just going to say. But it really is. I mean, I was doing vasectomies literally in med school. And you don't need anesthesia. You just need, and some men are like, don't need anything because you do local anesthetic. So you numb the area. And it's like you don't need, when I hear of a man that takes 3 days to recover from a vasectomy, I'm like, okay, you're you know what? I'm not going to say the P word, but I'm going to say the P word. But honestly, the farther I get away from med school, and the more I learn about the body, the closer I get to, I think that we need to really get back to nature and the way God designed us. And God didn't design us to need procedures, so I think if a female is really in tune with her body and her hormones. So the ideal scenario is you're eating proper nutrition, you're taking care of your sleep, you're taking care of your stress. all of these elements so that your hormones are in balance. And if you are, not menopausal, you have a monthly cycle. And so you are in tune with that monthly cycle, and you know exactly when you're ovulating, and you know that those 3 days before and 3 days after, you have to be very careful. There are natural methods like a diaphragm. There's the IUD, the copper IUD that doesn't mess with your hormones. There's condoms, and like all of these other methods that are a lot more natural, that will prevent pregnancy. And of course, it's not 100%, but it's one of those things where I just, I don't judge anyone when they tell me that they're going to get elective surgery by any means. And you have to figure out what's right with you and your significant other. But
yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, it's your body and your relationship and your decision.
Absolutely.
We can only offer you advice.
Absolutely. 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 All right. Any other questions we got?
Yeah. So, Paige wants to know, hey, Paige.
Hi, Paige.
Said, what do you do about loose skin after weight loss? Like mama kangaroo pouch loose skin.
That's a great question. In fact, I was just watching one of my coach's videos, and she was being real. She was showing herself doing mountain climbers, and the camera was showing her loose skin. And when you see her standing up, like, she's totally changed her body. And you can see, signs of a six pack. But in the different view, you can see loose skin. And this is one of those things where I do believe that over time with proper nutrition, that can heal itself. But depending on how much overweight you were, I mean, there are some people that literally were walking around 500 pounds that now are normal weight, and the excess skin, is that going to go away? Probably not. And, I don't judge you for going to a plastic surgeon to get that removed. But, in regard, like, I know Paige, and I know, her, she's got little bit of extra skin because she was never morbidly obese. And I do believe that over time with proper nutrition and proper supplementation, that will heal itself and go away. But it's patience. And we Americans are the worst about patience and delayed gratification. And we want it now. I mean, I already, we're not even 4 weeks into the beta test group. That's 12 weeks. And I'm already having people message me, I've plateaued. I'm like, you can't say you've plateaued. You've been doing this for less than a month. For real? Like, you didn't get to the point that you were at overnight, and you're not going to get to your goal in 3 weeks, guys. Like, totally. Just be patient and trust the process, and trust the fact that yes. And if you're treating your body the way God designed you to treat it, it will heal itself in all aspects.
Well, and I think that kind of also circles back to personal development, because it takes trusting in yourself and knowing the value in your mind of what you're doing for your body when you commit to changing your nutrition or committing to changing your exercise, because your mind will quit before your body does. And so if your mind is in the right place, you have to prepare yourself mentally to take on some kind of a change like that, because it's not up to your body, it's up to your mind. And if you're not there mentally, it'll be so much more difficult than it would be.
And your subconscious is huge. And this makes me think, I meant to tell you this. So the dream that I woke up to this morning, no kidding, I cheated and ate a piece of pizza.
Oh my God.
I'm not even kidding. I was with my mom and Leah in my dream. And it was because the last thing that I did before I went to sleep last night was because I'm going to be in Dallas, and I'm going to do a quick masterclass before I, leave Texas for the holidays. Yeah. And my friend Des, he said something about wanting to get together for, dinner. And I'm like, well, Leah and my mom are going to be with me. And his idea of healthy is not my idea of healthy. Mm-hmm. But that was the last thing that I thought about before I went to sleep. And literally I woke up having a dream that Leah, my mom, and I went to a place and we were tempted with pizza, and I gave in. And I remember taking the bite and thinking, oh, this is going to tear my stomach up, but I still took it. Your subconscious is powerful, guys.
Totally. It totally is. So yeah, if you're not arming yourself correctly in your mental space, like that is something that if you follow me on, Instagram, or if you've been following my fitness journey, or if you've been one of my clients, like you know that I talk so much about the power of your mental space, probably more than I do nutrition and exercise.
Yeah.
Because for me, I want my clients to be able to sustain whatever results and lifestyle that they create when they're working with me.
Yep.
And so if I can't help them get into the right mental space, that won't happen. They'll do it when they have the accountability, but then when that month or whatever it might be time that they spend with me is up, they move on and they gain it all back, not because they weren't taught good methods, but because they're not in the right mental space to maintain it. So I really, really stress arming yourself in the right mental space, because for me, when I started to lose weight, it's not you against food, it's not you against push-ups, it's you against yourself. And so if you can't give yourself grace and understand in your mind that you're doing this because your body deserves it, not because you're punishing it for what it looks like, or that you feel like it has failed you, you're doing it because your body deserves it and that you are deserving of your health. And it's hard to get to that place. And that's why personal development is a huge, huge part of making changes in any part of your life, even if it's not health and fitness, if it's improving relationships or improving your marriage or improving your social skills, your leadership skills, or just being able to become your own best friend, which is important. Personal development it's more than just for entrepreneurs. There's a little bit of it in all genres of life. How we talked about Pat Allen, right? That's her name. Yeah.
Yep.
So she's basically a personal development guru for relationships.
Yep.
So there's something for everybody, even if you aren't an entrepreneur or if you don't think you need self-help.
Yeah. Everyone, if you're listening to this, you need self-help. You need personal development.
I encourage you, especially as we're going into this next new year, is to find something in your life, whatever it is in your life that you can work on. We all have to kind of identify what it is that we want to improve. And then I encourage you to find personal development based off of whatever that skill or talent or area of your life that you're wanting to improve.
Great advice. And I don't know if you watched my video in our beta test group that I did yesterday, but I got on to the beta test group and did a video that basically is like, we as coaches are constantly learning new stuff so that we can help empower our customers, right? In all different ways. And I was listening to my own personal development, and it was this psychiatrist / psychologist who specializes in helping people change their mindset. And he was talking about specifically people that he helps with weight loss, because a common struggle that people have with weight loss is they lose it, but then they regain it. And what's the underlying problem? The underlying problem is mindset, right? Mm-hmm. And so he's talking about the practice of visualization and how that literally can change so many people's lives. Like athletes use visualization all of the time. This is a common method that they use, but it can be used in any area of life, including weight loss. And so he was talking about this technique that you essentially, by using visualization, you take, so your body type. So like for me, I'm muscular. I've got thick thighs. They're muscular. I'm not going to pick an image that is a skinny stick. I can't talk, apparently. I need coffee. Like stick thin, but find what my ultimate goal, like when I reach my body goals, like that image, cut out the picture and then put my head on top of it so that I can start visualizing like that. That's where I'm going. Yeah. And literally he was like, it works like 100% of the time. And so I'm like, wow, why have I not thought about that? One, and two, that's a technique that I can use to help the people that I want to help. And that's personal development, guys. Mm-hmm. If you're not constantly learning new things, you're going to be stuck in mediocrity. And, that's our message here on the Fitz and Healthy podcast. We don't want you to be stuck in mediocrity, because life is amazing. But if you're not growing, you're stuck there.
Yeah. But the thing is also, you always say knowledge is potential power. And I think it's important that not only do you just, dive into personal development, that you make sure you apply it.
Yes. Action. You can, and man, I can think of a few people that come to mind right away that I know listen and read to tons of personal development, but when it comes to putting it into their life, that's where they struggle. It's taking action is the thing that's going to do it. So read a book and take action on it, right? Yeah. So what other questions we got?
So Lauren has a really great question. She says, how do
Lauren,
I help
Is it Lauren Craig?
Yes.
Hi, Lauren.
She says, how do I help people around me realize that my weight loss is not for attention? Yes, I do post pictures to encourage others, but I'm just gaining my health back. My husband said something about along the lines of, I have heard stories about wives who leave their husbands after weight loss. Makes me
Mm.
sad he isn't confident with himself. What can I do to help him?
I'll let you answer it first, and then I'll put my two cents into it.
Okay. So I think that the fact that you know why you're doing this, you've identified your why. So for you, this weight loss process that you're going through is bigger than just the vanity of it. We all want to, feel and look our best, but for you, it's something so much deeper. Um, you are posting those pictures to keep yourself accountable, is what I'm assuming. And honestly, it can go one of two ways. You can either be an inspiration to those around you, or you become a threat to those around you. And again, it comes back to mental space. If maybe your spouse isn't supportive, it's because he is worried. Our loved ones, a lot of times, project their fears onto us because he may not be able to be in the right place to commit to changing his health. Coach Tulin, who we interviewed, she talked about she was significantly overweight, and so was her husband. And her husband decided to do something about it. And she bullied him about it. She put him down about it. She said she would sit there and eat french fries in front of him while he worked out. And it's funny because it took at least, I think she had said, like a year of him doing that for her to start to get on board. So don't give up on your partner. It's not that he is coming from a place of he doesn't support you. I think he just may feel threatened. He might just feel worried about the fact that you are making incredible changes that he's not ready yet to make. And he's worried that you're going to level up and he's going to lose you. So honestly, try to understand that he's coming from a place of care, even though it doesn't sound like it. It's because he cares about you and he values you and he doesn't want to lose you. And so he feels threatened. So keep on going. Keep doing it for yourself because you've already admitted that that's what you're doing is you're empowering yourself, and hopefully he will feel inspired and he'll come around.
So I just want you to know that I've got chills everywhere because just listening to those words come out of your mouth, that's so inspiring because you were 23 years old and that's from personal development right there. Like you don't hear that kind of wisdom out of a 23-year-old that hasn't been working on themselves for at least 2 years. So I just want to acknowledge you for that, Cinthanie. Great advice. This is definitely something that I see very commonly, and it is their own, it's other people's insecurities, and what other people think of you is none of your business.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And you have to constantly remind yourself because we are in, this day and age is unlike anything that we've ever had in human history. We are in social media, and like I literally on a daily because I'm on Instagram to learn from other people so that I can learn how to use Instagram as a platform. Cause that's my probably weakest platform out of all my platforms that I'm on. And ultimately I'm on these platforms for a couple of reasons. One, to reach people that need to hear my voice. Two, that's how I build my business. And three, it's ultimately how people are going to find me. And so, obviously my YouTube channel is huge. The Facebook is huge, but Instagram is a struggle. And I find myself literally having to remind myself daily, like, don't compare yourself to these people because it's so easy to get on Instagram and feel like you are less than the person that you just watched their Insta story.
Yes, totally.
Right? Right?
So easy. Yeah.
And if you are not doing personal development, it's so easy. I mean, you guys, I'm a super, super secure person. And if I'm struggling with that, I can only imagine people that are not secure in themselves, like getting onto, platforms like Instagram and just feeling like, well, I don't look like that. I'm not that good. I'm not that blah, 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 blah. I'm not. You know what other people are doing is none of your business. It's all about what you are doing. And Lauren Craig, you know that you are on a path to becoming the healthiest version of yourself. And I mean, girl, we got to give a shout out. If y'all didn't watch the live interview that I did with her earlier this week, it's awesome. She's so inspiring. And it's so amazing to hear this feedback from the people in our beta test group because I'm constantly hearing, I don't feel like I'm a slave to food anymore. And it's so freeing. And that ultimately, that's why we're here. We're here to help empower other people. Right. So other people's insecurities will come out as you become more secure, more strong, more fit, more happy. And people that are not happy with them, where they're at in life, project that unhappiness in the way they interact with you, whether it be words, comments, facial expressions, or lack of support. But at the end of the day, you cannot control anyone, even your spouse.
Yeah.
You can control yourself. That's it.
And that's why I always stress you are a good person and you deserve good things to happen to you, because even when you feel like you have no support, you have to rely on those words and know at the end of the day, regardless of who says what to you or what kind of feedback you get from people, anytime you put yourself out there and you put your ideas out into the universe, you're going to get pushback. Like, I can't tell you how much for every positive comment I get, there's also somebody negative somewhere, but you never hear me talk about it because I choose to not allow that to interfere my mental space, because I know the message that I want to put out, and some people may receive it and some people might not. So for you, Lauren, when you're sharing your journey, some people are going to be so inspired and receive your message, and they are worth putting yourself out there, even though there's going to be somebody that disagrees with you. So you're a good person. You deserve good things to happen to you. Keep going regardless of what you're hearing around you.
Amen. Amen. So any more questions that we need to hit before we get going?
So JJ has a question. She says, when it comes to men, how does
JJ Bazooka?
Yes.
What's up, girl?
How does diet impact testosterone?
Oh, that's a great question. It impacts it in a major way. Exercise impacts it as much or more. I've seen a lot of people that do both and still need supplemental testosterone. And I'm not telling you that that's what you need to do, but a lot of people that I know and respect and follow online in the health and nutrition world actually are fans of supplemental testosterone if everything that you can do in your own power is being done and you still have low testosterone levels, because low testosterone levels are, affect you in so many ways. And let's just talk about the elephant in the room. It's sex drive. Hello. Sex is one of the most amazing things in the world. But if you don't have any, drive for it, you're not going to be able to enjoy one of the greatest pleasures in this world. And I mean, that's a terrible way to live. And if you are doing everything in your power, making sure that you're feeding your body all of the good whole nutrition, you've gotten all of the fake foods out, you're not giving your body crap, you're controlling your sleep, you're controlling your environment, you're minimizing toxins as much as possible, you're exercising daily, you're doing resistance training and cardio, and you're doing everything that you can to maximize all of your hormone levels. And then at the end of the day, if your testosterone is still low, you might need supplementation, and that's not a bad thing. I don't want anyone to feel guilty for needing to go there, because I definitely still think that there is a need for Western medicine, but we go to Western medicine way too soon. So make sure, JJ, that you give your body time, because I know that you're in the beta test group. And so, 12 weeks is a great place to start. And that's why I recommended getting above and beyond labs for the beta test group, so that people can see how much they can change their hormones in just 12 weeks. And in fact, there's one chick that's in the beta test group that she had to get her thyroid rechecked, and literally her thyroid hormones are all back to normal after less than a month. And I go,
awesome.
It's right. I don't think people understand how quickly they actually can reverse the damage that they've done to their hormones. So stop making excuses. Yeah, men and women. Yes. Yeah. Good point. Good point. So any other ones that we need to address before we get going?
There is one random one, but it's a good question.
Okay. Well, so then let's do it.
Lacey wants to know. She said, I'm going on a
Lacey
cruise
who?
Next. Lacey Thomas.
What's up, girl? Hey, girl. Hey.
I love that you know who everybody is.
I do. And that's why I love the interaction, because we get to know, and I actually know Lacey in person too. She drove like 8 hours to come take my master class. So I got to give a shout out to my girl, Lacey. Love her.
Awesome.
Okay. So go on.
She says, I'm going on a cruise next month, and I'm wondering how I'm going to get my shake in. I know you ladies have been on a cruise. Any guidance on how to make sure I'm getting healthy contents for my shake when I'm on a ship and without my own kitchen? I literally have this crappy, like $20 little blender that I put in my suitcase and take with me, like anywhere that I can. And I've taken
I did. Yeah. I do the exact same thing.
Went on together. I took it with me. And a lot of times you can even go to the bar where they have a blender and just ask them if they'll blend it for you. Nice.
That's usually my backup plan. I went on a cruise a little over a year ago, and I put it in my check-on baggage. So not on my carry-on. And when you get onto a cruise, a lot of people don't understand that it's kind of like getting onto a plane. You check in your baggage and they bring it to your room, and then you're carry-on, they go through it. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that because electrical devices, I'm pretty sure that it wasn't allowed, but they never saw it because it was in my checked-in baggage. And I used my blender every day, and I obviously brought my Shakeology. But anytime that I'm at a place that I don't have my blender, I always go and I tip the bartender because, they're not making any money from you ordering a drink with your own stuff. So, and I actually bring my own coconut milk or almond milk too, because
like the boxed ones you can buy
the
off
boxed
the shelf?
one.
Yeah.
Yep. Because if you get down to it, if you ask them if they by chance have almond milk or coconut milk, because I don't do dairy, more times than not, if you ask to look at the ingredients, they have sugar and other crap ingredients in their almond milk or coconut milk. And
I feel like they're going to be way less helpful blending that for you if you're asking a bunch of questions and stuff, because they're literally doing you a huge favor. So the more simple you can make it, the better. And if it like push comes to shove, just bring a shaker cup. Just mix it with water, shake it, and chug it back. I know it's not as delicious.
It's not as delicious,
creamy, but like the nutrients are still the same. So
right. Ultimately, you get your daily dose of dense nutrition, over 70 freaking superfoods. It's not a protein shake, people. It's so much more. Okay. Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much. We hope that everyone has a very Merry Christmas, happy holidays, be safe. Remember that food is just it's not what makes the holiday special. Focus on what really makes the holiday special, being surrounded by loved ones. That could be family, that could be friends, or it could be both. And really focus on that and gratitude for that. And then, if you have a little bit of extra, whatever, don't beat yourself up. Don't let it be an excuse to let the whole week go out of the window, because your body deserves to be treated with the utmost respect. And that is done by feeding it good nutrition. And so we just appreciate every single one of you guys. This is not our official last Fitz Friday for the year, but second to last. And it's been an amazing year so far. And big things are coming in 2018. I get excited every time I think about it. And we couldn't do this without the support and love from every single one of you that listen, that subscribe, that download every episode and have left reviews. So we appreciate you greatly. And Cinthanie, what do you have to say to them?
Good person, and you deserve good things to happen to you.
Amen. Happy Friday, guys. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye.
Make sure that you find us on social media. You can find Cinthanie on Instagram and Facebook at Cinthanie. So that's CINTHANIE, and on Snapchat at Cinthanie P. And find me on social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all at Club Fitz Fitness. Remember, that's FITZ Fitness. And on Snapchat, just at Club Fitz. I appreciate your time listening so much. If you enjoyed this episode of the Fitz and Healthy podcast, can you please go do me a favor and go subscribe at whatever platform that it is that you listen to podcasts. Leave a review. We read every single review, and we appreciate the time that you take to leave your thoughts and opinions. Now, also remember, while I am a medical doctor, the information I provide here is not intended to provide medical advice or professional diagnosis, opinion, treatment, or services to you or to any other individual. I am providing general information for educational and informational purposes only, and it is not a substitute for medical or professional care. You should not use this information in place of a visit, call, consultation, or the advice of your physician or other healthcare provider. The information I share is not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose any disease or medical condition. If you believe you have a medical emergency, just call 911 immediately or your physician. Now, enough of that medical legal jargon. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I appreciate your time. Now, go live a Fitz and Healthy life.